The storm clouds rolled low over the desert that evening, dragging long shadows across the porch of Elias Mercer's ranch house. He stood at the edge of the steps, hands clenched, eyes scanning the horizon for the 1,000th time. His daughter, Clara, had been gone for 2 full days. 2 days of silence, 2 days without a single trace of where she'd run off to. She was strong-willed, spirited, stubborn like her late mother, but she had never vanished like this before. Search parties had ridden out and come back empty-handed. The sheriff said she was probably hiding in one of the canyons, cooling her anger after their argument. But Elias knew better. He had felt dread the way a man feels lightning before it strikes, deep in the air, in the bones, in the place conscience whispers warnings no one hears. He had not slept. He had not eaten. Every hour, his heart thudded louder, beating out the same question. "Where are you, Clara?" Just as the sun melted into a crimson horizon, Elias saw movement. A small figure on horseback approaching slowly, unsteadily. His breath caught in his throat. He grabbed his rifle, then dropped it when he recognized the familiar sway of the rider. "Clara," he whispered. He ran toward her as the horse staggered to a stop in front of the gate. Clara leaned forward, pale, exhausted, but she wasn't alone. Behind her, holding on with her last remaining strength, sat a young Apache woman, wounded, trembling, her left arm wrapped in torn cloth, soaked with dried blood. Her dark eyes flickered with pain, but also something else. Hope. Thin, but unbroken. Clara tried to speak. "Dad, help her first." Elias caught them both before they fell. He lifted Clara off the saddle, then cradled the injured woman carefully, feeling how light she was, how cold her skin felt despite the heat of the day. "Dad," Clara whispered again, gripping his sleeve with desperate urgency. "We'll protect her. You hear me? We have to protect her." Elias nodded without fully understanding. He carried the Apache woman into the house, placing her gently on the guest bed. Clara sank into the nearest chair, dust-covered and shaking. Only after Elias had cleaned and bandaged the woman's wound did he turn to his daughter. "Now tell me," he said softly, "what happened?" Clara swallowed hard, tears trembling at the edges of her lashes. "Her name is Naylin," she began, her voice raw. "She saved my life." And the story spilled out. Number 12, Clara had ridden into the desert after their argument. A foolish burst of anger after a disagreement about her future. She wanted to join a traveling research group studying ancient sites. Elias feared the dangers. Words had been thrown. Doors slammed. She galloped away before she could regret it. But regret came quickly. A flash flood swept through one of the narrow canyons she rode into, nearly throwing her from her horse. In the chaos, she was separated from the trail, stumbling into unfamiliar territory. The desert night fell, cold and merciless. She would have been lost, perhaps gone forever, if Naylin hadn't found her. The Apache woman had been gathering herbs near the cliffs when she heard Clara's frightened cries. She offered water, shelter, guidance. She showed Clara where the land dipped into safe pathways, how to read the wind, how to build warmth from sparse desert brush. She spoke little at first, her English accented but steady, but her actions were kind, protective. Then, on the second day, danger found both of them. Clara didn't know who the men were, trappers, hunters, or just angry opportunists. But they'd seen Naylin alone and decided she was an easy target. They approached with mocking grins, shouting about bounties and rewards for capturing a native woman. Naylin tried to lead Clara away quietly, but the men followed. One grabbed Naylin's arm, and in the struggle that followed, Naylin was injured while shielding Clara. Clara, terrified yet determined, managed to distract the attackers long enough for Naylin to break free. Together, they escaped on Clara's horse, riding through the desert until the ranch came into sight. "She protected me," Clara finished, tears streaming, "and I'll protect her now, no matter what." Elias looked at his daughter, her trembling hands, dust-smeared clothes, fear-shaken voice, and felt a swell of both pride and sorrow. She had grown up in the last 2 days in ways he hadn't expected. He glanced toward the bedroom where Naylin lay. "She's safe now," he said gently. "Both of you are." Night settled over the ranch. Elias sat in the kitchen, peeling bandages and heating water. Clara hovered protectively near Nalen's bedside, refusing to leave her. The young woman drifted in and out of consciousness, but each time her eyes flickered open, Clara reassured her. "You're safe here," she whispered. "My dad won't let anything happen." By morning, Nalen was stable enough to talk. Elias entered quietly, and Nalen met his gaze with wary caution. For a long moment, silence hung between them. Then she spoke, her voice soft but steady. "I owe you nothing," she said, not defiantly but truthfully, "but I thank you." "You owe me nothing," Elias replied. "You saved my daughter. That debt is mine." Nalen blinked, surprised. Clara smiled faintly. Over the next days, Nalen slowly healed. She told him about her village, not far from the canyon, nestled near a hidden spring. Her family had taught her healing practices and desert survival. She had been out gathering medicine plants when the trouble began. Clara listened to every word with fascination, respect shining in her eyes. But trouble wasn't finished. 3 days after Clara's return, dust rose on the horizon. 5 men on horseback, the same kind who had chased Nalen. Elias spotted them through his field glasses. His jaw tightened. Clara ran to him. "Dad? They're looking for her," he said grimly. Fear flashed across Clara's face, but only for a moment. Then her chin lifted with resolve. "We're not handing her over." "You're right," Elias said. "We're not." He stood in front of the porch, rifle slung over his shoulder. Not threatening, but ready. When the men rode up, their expressions soured. "We're looking for a runaway Apache woman," their leader said. "Saw tracks coming this way." Elias didn't blink. "You'll turn around and ride back the way you came." "She's dangerous," the man insisted. "There's a price on her." Clara stepped onto the porch before her father could stop her. "She's not dangerous," she shot back. "You attacked her, you injured her, she saved my life." The men shifted uncomfortably. They hadn't expected a girl. Dusty boots, fire in her eyes to confront them. "Listen, kid," one began. "No," Clara snapped. "You listen. She's under our protection. Leave now." Elias felt a surge of pride. He placed a steadying hand on his daughter's shoulder and added, "This land is mine. You're trespassing. You have 10 seconds to ride off before I report you to the sheriff." The men exchanged dark looks, muttered curses, and finally turned their horses around. Dust trailed behind them like a retreating storm. When they were gone, Clara exhaled shakily. Elias squeezed her shoulder. "You did good." They returned inside, where Nalen sat up with difficulty, having heard every word. She looked at Clara with quiet emotion. "You defended me." "Just like you defended me," Clara said softly. Nalen lowered her gaze. "In my people's belief, a hand offered in protection creates a bond, not ownership, not debt, just connection." Clara reached out gently, taking her uninjured hand. "Then we're connected." Elias watched them, 2 young women from different worlds who had found strength in each other, and felt something shift inside him, something hopeful, something new. A week later, when Nalen had healed enough to travel, she prepared to return to her village. Clara saddled a horse for her while Elias packed supplies. Before Nalen mounted, she turned to Elias and bowed her head respectfully. "Your home has honor," she said. "You do too," Elias replied. "You're welcome here anytime." Clara hesitated, then wrapped Nalen in a tight embrace. "Will I see you again?" Nalen smiled, a small, rare, beautiful smile. "Yes, our paths will meet again." She rode off toward the horizon, the early morning sun casting gold across the land. Clara watched until she disappeared from view. Elias stood beside her. "You still want to join that research group?" he asked. Clara looked at him, eyes shining. "Yes, more than ever." He nodded. "Then we'll make it happen." She leaned her head against his shoulder. "Thanks, Dad." And the desert wind carried their quiet peace across the land, a reminder that courage comes in many forms, and that sometimes the people we least expect become the ones who change our lives forever.